Deadly bandit attacks in Katsina, dozens killed and kidnapped in Funtua, Dandume local government areas. Federal government intensifies national security measures across Nigeria. Protesters clash with police in Abuja and Rivers over economic hardship, cybercrime low. To the foreign scene, AU appoints Togo's President Nasingbe as new mediator in DR Congo M23 peace talks. Tensions rise as Algeria-Mali exchange airspace bans over drone dispute. Ukraine, US resume minerals deal talks after fallout. Trump criticizes Zelensky. Stay tuned for details of these stories and more.
For deeper analysis on security situation in Nigeria and beyond, watch Third Eye Africa TV.
We begin in Katsina State, where communities are reeling from a wave of violent attacks. At least 6 people have been killed and nearly 60 others abducted in separate raids by armed bandits. The most recent attack happened Sunday night around 10:30 in Liongara village, Funtua local government area. 2 residents were killed and 16 others were kidnapped in the assault that lasted hours. Locals say there was no security response during the attack. Just 24 hours earlier, another village, Mekamu in Dandume local government area, came under fire. Armed attackers stormed the area on motorcycles, killing 4 people and abducting 43 more. Dandume's local government chairman, Basiru Musa, confirmed the attack, saying over 100 armed men were involved. Security remains tight across the region, but residents are calling for urgent government action and intervention. A civil society group is calling for swift justice following last week's deadly attacks in Bokos Plateau State, which left more than 50 people dead. The League of Northern Democrats condemned the attacks as a blot on the nation's humanity. The group urged the federal government to arrest and prosecute those behind the violence and warned that Plateau could become the new face of insecurity if urgent action isn't taken. 5 villages were targeted in the latest wave of killings. The federal government says it is stepping up efforts to strengthen national security and protect life and property across the country. Over to our correspondent Stephanie Chijoke for more details of this story.
The federal government says it is committed to strengthening security and ensuring the safety of lives and property across the country. The assurance came from President Bola Tinubu, who spoke through Vice President Kashim Shettima at the inaugural Nigerian Police Day held on Monday in Abuja. At the event, the Vice President reaffirmed the administration's dedication to restoring peace and unity in Nigeria. He said this is being done by tackling critical challenges like banditry, insurgency, and kidnapping head-on. He called on the Nigerian police to remain steadfast and professional, describing them as the face and the last hope of Nigerian people in times of crisis.
It is with great pride and immense joy that I address you on this historic occasion, the very first National Police Day. Today we honor the brave men and women of the Nigerian Police Force who tirelessly serve our nation, safeguard our communities, and uphold the rule of law. This day is far more than a ceremonial event. It is a heartfelt recognition of your sacrifices, dedication, and courage. We are acutely aware of the critical role the Nigerian Police Force plays in our national security framework. You are the first line of defense against crime and disorder, the guardians of our communities and the enforcers of our laws. You work tirelessly, often under difficult circumstances, to ensure the safety and well-being of every Nigerian. To each and every officer I say, your efforts are seen, your service is valued, and we stand in solidarity with you.
The Vice President also described the Nigerian Police Day as a new beginning, one that envisions a future of lasting peace, justice, and security.
We'll ensure that we are always steps ahead of those who threaten the peace, welfare, and prosperity of our nation. For Furthermore, we will ensure that your salaries and benefits reflect the gravity of your responsibilities and the rates you pay daily. Anything less will be unacceptable. Beyond these measures, our aim is to foster a police force that exemplifies accountability, professionalism, and community engagement. In this era of renewed hope, police training programs will emphasize human rights, ethics, and community-based strategies to build trust between the police and the citizens they protect.
He urged citizens to support the nation's security efforts, saying collective action is key to achieving these goals. Reporting, Stephanie Chijoke from Third Eye Africa TV.
While the celebrations were underway in the capital, protesters took to the streets expressing anger over worsening economic conditions and alleged police repression. Members of the Take It Back movement clashed with police in Abuja and Rivers State. In both cities, officers used tear gas to disperse demonstrators protesting against alleged abuses of the Cybercrime Act and what they call bad governance. Roads leading to Eagle Square were also cordoned off. Authorities had earlier warned against such protests, particularly in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. In Lagos State, police are investigating a deadly explosion that killed a scrap metal dealer in the Mushin area. According to police, the incident happened on Taiwo Street, Idiaraba, when the victim attempted to cut into what turned out to be a military-grade grenade. One person died and others were injured and are receiving treatment in the hospital. Officers recovered 2 live grenades and 1 already detonated device from the scene. The site's police commissioner has expressed condolences to the victim's family. Security forces in Benue State have arrested 3 suspected kidnappers linked to recent attacks in Otukpo. The arrest followed the hijacking of a Benue Links bus last week, where 2 people were killed and 14 abducted. Police say the victims were rescued within 24 hours. Local leaders say the suspects have been terrorizing the area and were captured after a high-speed chase. Authorities have promised to increase security patrols in the region. Troops of the 6th Division Nigeria Army have arrested 43 suspects in connection with all theft and related crimes in the Niger Delta region. The troops also dismantled 14 illegal refineries as part of ongoing efforts to combat economic sabotage. Acting Deputy Director of Army Public Relations for the division, Lieutenant Colonel Danjuma Jonah, discloses in a statement, noting that the operations were carried out between March 31 and April 6, 2025. According to him, the troops, in collaboration with other security agencies, intensified their clampdown on oil thieves and recorded significant breakthroughs. During the operations, 14 boats used for illegal oil activities were destroyed, several vehicles were intercepted, and over 250,000 liters of stolen petroleum products were recovered. The General Officer commanding the 6th Division, Major General Emmanuel Emeka, commended the troops for their dedication and urged stakeholders to continue working together to eliminate economic saboteurs in the region. He emphasized that sustained efforts would enhance oil and gas production, contributing to the nation's economic growth. Moving on, the Nigerian government says its automobile compressed natural gas Auto CNG initiative has attracted over $491 million in investments over the past year. Program Director and CEO of the Presidential CNG Initiative, Michael Oluwagbemi, revealed this during a press briefing at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. Oluwagbemi said the initiative has led to the creation of over 9,000 direct jobs and 75,000 indirect jobs across the country. He also noted that Nigeria's capacity to convert vehicles from petrol and diesel to biofuel systems has increased by nearly 3,000%. This follows the establishment of more than 200 new vehicle conversion centers, up from just 7 at the start of the program, all driven by private sector investment addressing safety concerns. Oluwagbemi explained that there is an incident involving CNG vehicles, particularly in Benin, Edo State, were linked to acts of sabotage. Again, to Lagos State, operatives of the EFCC have arrested a suspected internet fraudster, Olawale Sunday, accused of buying bank account details to carry out scams. According to EFCC spokesperson Dele Oyewale, Sunday paid young Nigerians up to 50,000 naira to open bank accounts and hand over full access, including ATM cards. Trouble started when he used one of those accounts to defraud a victim of 2 million naira under the guise of forex trading. He has confessed and will be charged once investigations are completed. To politics, the leadership crisis in the Labour Party intensified on Monday as Julius Abure-led National Executive Committee NEC removed Honorable Afam Ogene as caucus leader in the House of Representatives over alleged anti-party activities. The NEC also warned it would sanction Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate Peter Obi and Abia State Governor Alex Otti if they proceed with the planned stakeholders engagement on Wednesday or any action undermining the party. The announcement came after separate NEC meetings called by Abure and Obi following last week's Supreme Court ruling. The NEC meeting was held at the party's national headquarters in Abuja, while Obi and Otti's summit was moved to an undisclosed location. Meanwhile, the High Court in Jos, Plateau State has adjourned the trial over the murder of Major General Idris Alkali, retired, to May 28 and 29, 2025, for the defense to present its case. The adjournment follows the continued cross-examination of retired Major General U.I. Mohammed after the prosecution formally closed its case. General Alkali, the former chief of administration at the Nigeria Army headquarters, was declared missing in 2018 after a journey from Abuja to Bauchi passing through Plateau State. His car was found in a mining pit in Du, and his body was later discovered in an abandoned well in Guchwet village. During Monday's proceedings, the defense cross-examined General Mohammed about inconsistencies in his previous statement. The questioning, lasting about 2 hours, focused on his account of the incident. Justice Arum Ashur excused the witness and scheduled the next hearing for May 28 and 29 for the defense to begin presenting its case. We go on a short break to return for more stories. Stay with us till Third Eye Africa TV.
For deeper analysis on security situation in Nigeria and beyond, watch Third Eye Africa TV. For deeper analysis on security situation in Nigeria and beyond, watch Third Eye Africa TV.
Thank you for staying with us on Third Eye Africa TV. We'll now take a look at stories across the African continent and, of course, across the globe. The African Union has endorsed an EU mediator ahead of long-awaited direct peace talks between the Democratic Republic of the Congo and the M23 rebel group. Togolese President Faure Gnassingbé will now lead mediation efforts, replacing Angola's João Lourenço, who says he wants to focus on his duties as AU chairperson. After years of fighting, the Rwanda-backed M23 rebels launched a lightning offensive earlier this year, capturing key cities in eastern Congo, displacing hundreds of thousands of people and killing thousands more. Last week, the rebels withdrew from the strategic town of Walikale, calling it a gesture of goodwill ahead of peace talks scheduled for Doha this Wednesday. Both sides reportedly held private discussions last week, and analysts say this upcoming round offers best chance yet for halting the violence. United Nations and Western governments accused Rwanda of supplying weapons and troops to the ethnic Tutsi-led M23 allegations that President Paul Kagame continues to deny. Meanwhile, diplomatic tensions between Algeria and Mali have escalated following the downing of a drone near their shared border. Both countries have now closed their airspace to each other's flights. The row began after Algeria shot down an armed reconnaissance drone last week, claiming it violated its airspace near the border town of Tizouarten. Mali, however, denied the drone crossed into Algerian territory, saying the wreckage was found nearly 10 kilometers inside its borders. On Sunday, Mali accused Algeria of sponsoring terrorism, a claim Algeria dismissed as baseless and unworthy of a response. Algeria initially banned flights to and from Mali, prompting Mali to retaliate with a reciprocal ban. The drone incident has strained ties further with Mali, recalling its ambassador from Algiers and threatening to escalate the matter to the international bodies. Mali and its allies, Niger and Burkina Faso, members of the Alliance of Sahel States, condemned Algeria, saying the drone was targeting a terrorist group near the border. Algeria, once a key mediator in Mali's northern conflict, has since deployed troops along its frontier to counter infiltration by jihadist militants. A high-profile, high-level Ukrainian delegation is expected in Washington this week for renewed talks on a minerals deal, their first visit since the dramatic collapse of the original agreement 5 weeks ago. President Volodymyr Zelensky was set to sign a framework agreement in late February, but abruptly left the White House after U.S. President Donald Trump publicly criticized him for what he called a lack of gratitude over American military support. Since then, teams from both Kiev and Washington have been working behind the scenes to rebuild trust and negotiate a revised deal. Ukraine's economy minister, Yulia Severydenko, says the U.S. is now proposing a more expansive agreement that would grant access to key mineral resources including titanium, lithium, and uranium, which are critical for defense and clean energy technologies. However, the deal is still under discussion, and it's unclear how close the two sides are to reaching a final agreement. Meanwhile, Mr. Trump has called on Russia to hold its bombing campaign in Ukraine after a deadly ballistic missile strike in Kryvyi killed 20 people, including 9 children. Several Palestinians released back to Gaza under a ceasefire deal say they were tortured in Israeli custody. In interviews with the BBC, 5 men detailed beatings, electric shocks, dog attacks, and denial of medical care. One claimed he was set on fire after being doused in chemicals. They were held under Israel's unlawful combatants law, but were not linked to the October 7 attacks, a condition for their release. The Israeli military denies systematic abuse, but says some cases will be investigated. The prison service says it's unaware of such incidents. A legal expert says the alleged treatment may amount to torture under international law. And finally, tributes are pouring in across Mali and beyond for legendary musician Amadou Bagayoko of the iconic duo Amadou and Mariam. Thousands gathered in Bamako on Sunday to say their respects. Bagayoko, 70, passed away after a period of illness. His wife and musical partner, Mariam Doumbia, was by his side. The duo rose to international fame in the 2000s, blending Malian rhythms with blues and global pop, and performing on some of the world's biggest stages. Thank you for staying with us. When we come back, we'll give you a recap of our major stories.
For deeper analysis on security situation in Nigeria and beyond, watch Third Eye Africa TV. For deeper analysis on security situation in Nigeria and beyond, watch Third Eye Africa TV.
And now to end the news, and a look at our top stories. In Katsina, a deadly wave of attacks by bandits has left several dead and dozens kidnapped, residents calling for urgent government intervention. The federal government has intensified efforts to improve national security, promising stronger protection for lives and property. Protests erupted in Abuja and Rivers as demonstrators clashed with police over economic hardship and the controversial Cybercrime Act. Internationally, the African Union appointed Togo's President Faure Gnassingbé as the new mediator in the peace talks between DR Congo and the M23 rebel group. Tensions between Algeria and Mali have escalated over a drone dispute, with both nations closing their airspace to each other's flights. And in Ukraine, renewed talks have resumed between Kiev and Washington regarding a minerals deal amid criticism from former U.S. President Donald Trump. And that's a wrap on our bulletin. Do remember that security is everyone's business. Stay tuned to Third Eye Africa TV for all the news in it. My name is Bivan